Most of the time, we would want to be right. Let me rephrase that. All the time, we want to be right. When we are driving, we want to stick to the speed limit. When we are eating, we'd want to adhere to the health standards. What happens when you are wrong? But that aside, in marriage, we would also want to do the best things. But what happens when I am at fault? Welcome to Family Times, and that is the topic we are discussing today. It is another good time that we have this lovely couple to help us understand this topic. When I am at fault, Felix and Lillian. Welcome again, and thank you for coming to Family Time. Say hi to our viewer.
Hi viewer, welcome, and let's learn together.
Yep.
Lillian?
Hi, thank you.
Yes, they don't want to be at fault. That is why they are minimizing their words. Let's come to this lovely couple, Tabitha and Richard. Say hi to our viewer.
Hi viewer, nice to have you.
Hi viewer, welcome again to this discussion. Please join us. Sante.
Dush. Welcome everyone, and welcome Felix, Tabby, Richard, Lillian in your own way.
Hi viewer, stay tuned. To our guest, feel most welcome, and I'm hoping you're going to have a good time.
Thank you.
Yes,
Indeed.
karibuni
Thank you
sana.
very much.
The big question is, how do you handle stuff when you are at fault in your marriage? Like I said, everyone would want to do the right thing. In fact, if you read Romans chapter 7, Paul is describing a situation where he is fighting to do the right thing, but he finds himself doing the wrong thing, and he calls it a struggle. What is it in our marriage? You see, when I am at fault, I am expected to say sorry.
Definitely.
Richard, I am expected to say sorry, and Linda is confirming that it is definitely. I hope that also it applies to you.
Yes.
But you see, this forgiveness, Richard and Felix, it is associated with weakness, and men are not supposed to be weak. What do you say?
That point touches on most men, and I'm not an exception. When I am at fault, it has been a culture since childhood that most men would not easily say sorry. As I was coming here for this discussion, I felt like I still belong there, but just maybe at the end of this discussion, I would be elsewhere. When I am at fault, I need to say sorry, but it is hard for me to say sorry.
Yeah.
Very true.
I am going to learn, and I don't know how that perception is going to change.
I think one thing that is going to definitely make you change, when you believe in God.
Amen.
Yes,
Amen.
when you believe. But before Richard talks, I just wish it was when you are at fault. I think it would have been
It's easier when you are at fault,
It's
right?
not when I am at fault.
Because I have a stronger ground.
My issue, my problem with this one is, who judges that I'm at fault? Is it myself or
Yes.
somebody else? And that could be laced with a lot of lies.
Yeah, true.
Well, if I am at fault, the best thing to do is to default. But who judges that I am at fault?
At times you might not really know sincerely
Thank you.
that you are at fault.
So I'm the one
but
to
at
judge.
times you might be told like, hey, this is what you did. You have done 1, 2, 3. And then you're like, oh yeah, I think, okay, this is not what I intended to do, but it has come out this way.
We
You know?
And that makes it even more interesting.
Yes.
My fault or what you feel is a
Consider,
fault may not
yes,
be
it's true.
what I feel is a fault.
And that is why I
That's my
said,
problem.
Yes.
you know, there's some people who don't even know, for example, if you ask them their temperament, they might not know. But because if somebody keeps on telling you, hey, you know, you are this and this and that, then it gets into them. So, for example, your wife might be like, you know what, Felix, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you'll be like, just like I said, you might not think that this was something wrong. But when Lillian explains it to you, like, you know what, deep down you are wrong. And that's why I mentioned knowing God, having a
But there's a
relationship
point
with
that
God.
Richard said that
yes.
who is the judge?
How
How will you know?
And exactly,
It's
Lillian
that's
may
exactly-
say,
Yes.
I'm at fault, when she's really finding fault.
Yes.
I may not actually be at fault,
But when she
she's
explains
making
to
me-
you, when
Yes.
she
Yes.
explains to you and
faulting
says,
you?
Yeah.
you know what, Felix, okay, just removing your shoes and throwing your socks all over, to you might not be a problem.
Yeah.
But when she explains to you, probably you have probably guests or little kids who might just take the socks and do whatever. You'll be like, sincerely, that makes sense. So if Lillian explains to you and you're ready to listen,
Yes,
Lillian,
like
But
I
my
normally
reaction,
do.
yes,
the way I react,
yes,
should be able to
To
show
tell him.
to show.
that
that you are at fault.
But
No, you-
Fashion
what about
is fine. Look, you can judge that, but I am not convicted that I have, you know,
That's why I'm trying to
Okay.
say,
Voted.
like, she explains to you that, you see, if you do this, it's not the right thing. So I think even you,
and I'm happy about doing it.
Then,
and
then,
I enjoy it.
then it means we have two scenarios here.
Yes.
We have scenario one, I don't know that I'm
Yes.
at fault.
Yeah. Thank
you.
Scenario two,
I
it
know.
is
I know.
obvious
Yes.
that I am at fault.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's deal with scenario two, it's easier.
Scenario 3, I disagree. I'm at fault. So, yes, I just disagree. I'm not at fault.
Which is
Meaning
true,
it-
which happens.
Yeah.
But I believe we're talking to Christians.
Yeah.
I believe we're talking to people who worship
we're
God.
dealing with everyone.
Yes, we're dealing
Yeah.
with everyone. True,
Yes,
true.
yeah.
But this is a marriage that you really want to work. You know, your goal is not to be a winner in this thing. Your goal is to, hey, we are all in this ministry. Let's
We're a
do
team.
whatever it takes. We're a team, so that this can work.
And
yes,
what-
at times you might disagree. At times I might disagree. Let's not talk like it's you, it's me. Let's talk
Yeah.
as if it's ourselves.
That's why I keep on saying that.
Yeah.
I
So
disagree.
if I disagree, he might tell me 1, 2, or 3, and I disagree. Sincerely,
But we need
if
to respect
I have
their
to sit
decision
down
anyway.
and think, because God has given us that wisdom, you know. And why would Richard tell me this while I think it is right? Why would my spouse tell me that I have done 1, 2, 3 while I think it is wrong? If I think seriously, I might see that, hey, something is not right.
I have a situation here that
Yeah.
I want us to also think about. I am at fault. I have noticed that I have gone wrong. Let me give you a clear picture of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was supposed to come back home and prepare a certain meal. That was I was to do it because probably I'm better in doing it. Then because of one reason or another, I'm not able to go home earlier. She goes home earlier than myself, realizes that, hey, this guy hasn't come. And then I come in late and it is nail by mouth. I don't even have a chance to explain my
So
situation.
you have to call first before you come and start explaining yourself. From wherever you are, please just call that I'm going to be late, unless your phone is off.
That is
Yes.
overloaded.
Yeah. That's it. It's
My phone is off.
communication, yeah.
My phone is off now. I come in
Yes.
and you are, you are at zero. And that is why I agree with you, Richard, when you say that, you can disagree that you are now not at fault because, I mean, you can explain where you are.
Yes.
You can explain where you are. But this beautiful lady here is not talking to me. How is that now going to help me?
Are you breaking
It
the
doesn't
ice?
help you.
Which eyes?
The one that you found me with.
I mean, I come home and, there is a way she receives me when I come back. And I come home and, she only responds to my questions and answers very short. Yes, no. Sometimes it's not yes, no. It's
But Dave, we have to agree that you people had a plan.
Yeah.
That today it's you preparing the meals, but something has cropped up. Your phone is off. Can't you
My
find
number.
another way of communicating?
Yes.
So that I get to know
Yeah.
that my husband will not be home early, so I have to
it's
do
not so
whatever he
hard.
was supposed
What
to
if
do.
Yeah.
I forget?
How do you forget?
You're on duty.
Because I have other
No.
things that
Meaning this one was
me.
not a priority.
You don't
no
forget.
one has
You don't
talked about
forget to come back
priority here.
home. How would
you
you
don't
forget?
forget, yeah. You
You don't
forget to
forget
come
that you need to go back home. How would you forget that you had a duty to perform?
Lillian, you want to tell me
Lillian.
that you never forget.
Lillian,
I only
Lillian.
forget things that are not important.
Lillian, Lillian,
my
Lillian,
goodness.
be encouraged. Excuses did not start with him. It started at the Garden of Eden.
We are in danger.
because we are talking about preparing meals, right? I'm not saying it's not important to make time so that you are able to prepare your meals, but there could be more pressing issues that may make you forget.
Now the issue here is
Communicate,
communication.
yeah.
And that is why people forget to communicate.
How?
And already there is
How?
a communication breakdown.
Yes.
You see, Richard,
can't
this is
reach,
why
yes.
I still agree with you.
Which communication breakdown are you talking about?
You
My
don't
phone
have a
is off.
phone, you
So you
can't
find
call.
another phone, you don't know my number.
I mean, is it a matter of life and death? That,
No, just
that we
call
have
me and
to
tell me
eat?
I'm going to be late. Kindly, if you
Where
can
do I
start,
find
do it
another
or do another thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a matter of life and death.
And
because
especially-
your family, that is where your heart is.
Yeah.
True.
And
If you
know,
are not going to job, you're not going to work, you'll find a way of communicating to your boss.
Even
I'll
if your
not
phone is
make
off.
it.
Oh, yes.
Even if the phone is
Yeah,
off.
I like that.
and in this case, we are
Why
talking
can't you
about,
find a way of communicating to me?
Yeah.
in this case, we are talking about
Listen.
preparing meals.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
And actually, not only preparing me.
Let's turn it this way. Let's turn it this way. It is now you who is
Yeah.
wrong, and you can't speak. You can't talk about it. I don't know if
for me, if I'm wrong,
do you
for me, if
expect
I'm wrong,
respite?
sincerely, one thing, I will avoid eye contact. I feel so bad. I really feel bad. So that even before I even say sorry, I think he'll even be able to see my body language.
In that time when
Yeah.
you can't even look at me.
Yeah.
Are you expecting me to understand?
That's what I'm saying. I will have that, I'll be so remorseful, like
Body language.
Yeah, my body language, because
So
this
I-
is one
Communicate.
person.
I should understand,
Your-
based on your body language, that you are sorry.
you're sorry.
That's what
Is
I'm
that-
saying.
let's lay
I have
down-
just
Thank
said
you.
this is
Just
going
a
to be
minute.
the first step, right?
You're just laying
So-
down the.
You're just
don't get
guilty.
Huh?
You're just guilty. There is no first step.
No, I'm
You're just
definitely
guilty.
guilty. I have done this. I am sorry. So I will talk to you and say, hey, you know what? This is the situation. I might decide to talk about it that time or look at it. Depends on what I did.
And I support Tabi because the body language, if I'm at fault,
This communication is
and then I
There
come
is-
to the house, I'm like, hi,
Yes,
how was
like
your
nothing
day?
happened.
Like nothing happened.
Felix and Richard, are you getting something?
I
It has-
am.
The tables have just
I'm
turned.
almost commenting. Let her go on.
The tables have just turned because it was on us when you were at fault.
But they didn't
We
say-
expected to call. We expected to get another line and still call.
Now, it has
Now,
gone to body language.
I come to the house and you are supposed to
Communication
listen to
is
body
both sides
language.
because also my body language can tell you a lot.
I don't
Yes.
want
It's
answers from your
learn,
body
you
language.
communicate.
I can
I want-
misinterpret your
if-
body language,
I
especially
must,
your
I
body
must
language.
humble myself.
Right. Exactly.
I must be humble first.
Aren't we
Then I
humbling
tell
ourselves
you,
when
I
we
am
come back
sorry,
to the house?
I came back late.
Yes.
I don't like that.
Yes.
You don't go to God
Richard,
and start telling
let me
God.
tell you a good scenario.
Yeah.
Even before you go to God, you have
It
to
is-
humble yourself.
Yes.
Exactly.
Very
Right,
true.
that's right.
Yeah.
Humble
Very true.
yourselves in the
That's
sight
right.
of the
You
Lord.
don't, you don't seek God to forgive you by your body language.
Yeah.
It doesn't
But
work
you're
like
not
that.
God.
You're not
Equally,
God.
You're judging
equally,
now.
Equally, you don't expect me to understand and to forgive.
Richard, you're now judging.
Body language is never learned in school.
What Richard is saying,
Yes.
and that will be the basis of our discussion, because there are cases where you think you're at fault, you disagree that you're at fault, but now we want to talk about when I know
Yes.
I am at fault.
That is it.
So let your spouse apologize.
And that is what Tabi is saying.
allow
From
us
the body
read from
language,
the
you will be
she's
able to
trying
tell.
to.
So do you want me to use
You
the
know
body language
Lillian,
only?
you know when Lillian is happy.
You know when I'm
your
happy.
spouse.
You know
Yeah.
when I'm sorry, how I behave.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is what
You
it
know
means,
your
because
spouse.
It now means you have to know me as
Exactly.
a wife.
Like
Yes.
I do.
Like you do.
I know, I like
Let me
that.
tell you something. Let me tell
By
you
the way,
something, ladies and gentlemen. I know this lady.
Yes.
But one thing that hasn't sunk deeper the way it should be to the bottom is when she's at fault.
What do you mean?
She will not say sorry. And I'm praying that my viewer, you also pray with me, that at the end of this show, this lady will learn to say sorry.
Amen.
I say sorry in another different way. He expects me like to say, I am sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it, but you see, after you saying sorry, I think he's still doubting. I don't know what
Because
happened.
the sorry comes in
Yeah.
like this, polybus.
No, it's not that way.
You know,
Yeah.
And then you know,
there is this kind of perfectionism in the fact that we don't
Yeah.
make mistakes. And therefore, if I admit that I am at fault, then it shows that now I'm very weak. This guy is just going to be above me.
yeah, which is not true.
Firstly, I am sorry will come from my conviction,
Yes.
not what you say. If it has to go there, I hope it doesn't. But if it has to go there, it's not an easy word to say anyway, especially when you know that you haven't.
And it is not it's not a situation that anyone would want to be in.
Some of these things are arguable.
You know, there's
Yeah.
sometimes, for example, I might be at fault, right? And I might not get that opportunity to explain myself. Then I'll be like, if looking at his body language, you know, maybe he's so angry and frustrated and everything, I'll be like, sorry, and then we don't talk about it. I don't think I'll have helped the situation. I think the best thing is, hey, you can explain and then just say, hey, I'm sorry. Or you start by being sorry and then you explain what happened.
Or action, give me an action.
Yeah,
There's no
action.
meal today because I am at fault. So
No.
the cooking has not been
Blame
done.
game is not even true.
Have you guys been in a situation where you Lillian, you ask for forgiveness on his behalf because it's not coming out?
No.
Like, what do you mean? Is that something I have to ask?
Why would I be at fault?
And is
Then
that
he asks.
Because we love each other and we are in the
So
same.
that in order for
You see,
to let
my
me-
situation sometimes
My
would push me to ask for forgiveness on her behalf. We are her default setting is quietness, just being quiet. My default setting is talking.
yes, saying it.
I say it, and so when I expect her to say it, she's gone to her default. She's gone to her default setting, which is just keeping quiet. And this lady can keep quiet. So I was offended. She's at fault, but she's gone there. But now I was offended. I have to come back, look for a way of coming back and just
Be
tell
the
her,
bigger person.
maybe let's. I mean, can we talk?
I
Or
like
rather,
that.
she will not talk, but I look for something
But
to
Dave,
cheer her up. Yes,
I am at fault. How do you handle me at that time?
yes.
That's a good question.
How do you
How do
handle
you
me?
handle
You are the one.
I am the one.
I'm the one who is at fault.
Yes.
How do you handle
How
it?
do you handle me?
First, did you acknowledge that you're at fault?
That's
Do you
what she
realize
said.
that?
That is
I
why
am
she's
the one,
saying.
yeah, I
Yeah,
am
that's
the
why
one.
she's saying.
I already know I'm at fault.
I think.
Yes.
I think before you go to Felix,
Yes.
how do you handle yourself?
I keep
I
quiet.
said
Yes.
That we said the body language part, right?
It's interesting.
want to
At
understand.
the beginning,
And
Yes.
keeping quiet means
Yes.
I'm still finding better words to
Yeah,
use.
because I always
Exactly.
tell them
Felix,
words are
the-
powerful. and
The goal has been
but-
shifted the third time.
Yes,
I am
shift.
counting.
you know, when we were
It's not
starting,
static.
Yeah.
I said it's always hard for us men to say sorry. But I've learned that lately, most of our spouses don't say sorry.
We do.
I don't.
in
Most of
different
us,
ways.
if they say once after 5 years, then
We are told actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
Is it?
My actions will
They
make
should
you
be,
know
it should be done.
that I am sorry.
Yes.
Give me the chapter and the verse in the Bible. It
we
says
love
that.
it when you tell us.
It says that.
We love it.
But
that-
I think,
Even
Dave,
if remotely.
I think, Dave,
just
what we need
mention
to
one.
tell the viewer that all marriages are unique.
Yeah, they are.
Everybody
Very
has
true.
a different temperament.
Yeah.
Very
How I'm going to handle when I'm at fault with Richard is not the same way Dave will handle it with Linda, is
Yeah,
not the
that's
same
true.
way
Very
Lillian
true.
is going to handle it with.
Unique.
So don't think that whatever works for Lillian and Felix is going to work for me and Richard.
We're different.
So I think, dear viewer, you might look at your situation and think, will my spouse ever listen to me?
Or say
Will
sorry?
my spouse ever say sorry? Look at the little signs, you know?
Tabi, this is the point where now I strongly disagree with you.
Okay.
Being at fault has nothing to do with your temperament.
How now?
You are at fault. If you are driving at 120
Yes.
kilometer per hour,
Yeah.
where you're supposed
Is
to
it
do 80,
personality?
Yes.
there's nothing to do with personality. Maybe you should tell me the type of shoe that you're wearing that is a bit heavy, that is stepping on the gas. But it has nothing to do with temperament.
You know I'm saying
What
that.
has to do with your temperament
Yeah.
is now how you handle that situation. You're already
Yeah.
at fault.
That is already what I'm saying.
But
Yeah.
you will not sit back
Yeah.
because it's hurting. It's hurting
Yeah.
when you are
I am at
supposed to say
fault.
sorry and you're not. So I have to say that sorry on your
What
behalf.
if I do it in an action
You
way?
know what I'm saying, Dave?
Or you just want the word sorry?
Sanguines. I will easily talk. But okay, let me just say an extrovert and an introvert. An introvert will, you mentioned case of Linda. She keeps quiet, she goes mute. While there's somebody who will never keep quiet. I will let you know that, hey, you know what, you hurt me if you give me that chance. But there's some people who will never. So I think, I still insist that temperaments really makes it different.
Temperament.
Yes.
We didn't marry based on temperaments. We got married because we loved each other. That love should take us there and just see us sail
The
through.
love is the action thing now.
Because if I'm going to sit down to now be going to weigh, I am a sanguine, she is a sanguine, I am this.
And I like what you
doesn't
said
help
about
me.
love.
It's
The
just-
other day we were being taught about love is a verb.
Yes.
It's a
So my
doing word.
action,
Yes,
my
that's
action
what
will
I'm
be
still
able to
telling them.
tell.
It's even
Yeah.
a noun, yes.
I'll
Whatever
jump
it
on
is.
you, hug you,
But-
tell you, hey, hi. You know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The only problem is while you're doing that, I don't want to feel cheated. I don't want to feel like you are just creating it for the
Then
sake of this
that's
moment.
Someone
means-
is taking advantage of
Yes.
this.
No, that
That's-
means there is no communication.
Yeah.
No,
That
Mama, you
means
don't
there's
understand
not-
your
that means you don't
spouse.
understand
The
your
communication.
spouse. That means there's trust issues. Yeah.
Well,
How many times
say that.
Yeah.
I think what Richard is saying,
Mama, you're
Yes.
stressed anyway.
you see, why I insist and why we insist, it's surprising that it's 3 on 3 and it's the men versus the ladies.
Yeah.
Why we try to make you understand and see it the way we see it. By the way, between the man and the woman, who is more likely to say sorry?
The woman.
Genuinely,
The woman.
it's the man.
Felix?
And truthfully, it's the man who is likely to say the truth.
the
When a
man?
man says, I'm sorry, it's right from the bottom of the heart.
Because
And
for
how
you,
long?
Lie.
for you to say those words,
Yes, it's
Remember,
They're not easy.
Felix began by saying
Yes.
Yes.
he'll feel like he's a weaker being.
Yes. By
By
saying
When
Yes.
saying
sorry.
sorry, it's
But
the
I did
ego.
not say
Yeah.
anywhere that I would not say sorry.
Yeah, I like
What
that.
we are saying
Yes.
is that
Just
if you
not
find
easy.
a man
Yeah.
telling you he is sorry, then he is. And
And
that
a-
is
and a
nothing but
lady,
the
what do you
truth.
And
have to
a
say about
lady-
a lady?
A
When the
lady, a
says
lady
you are-
first of all, will try to convince you that you look at the body language. A lady will try to avoid eye contact.
We'll want you to
What
understand
about a
them.
man?
A lady
What
will
man
jump
doesn't-
on you and hug you and say, before mentioning
I
it.
thought eye contact suggests truth coming from whoever is looking
That's
at
why
the
I'm
eyes.
so
Guilty.
ashamed of what I have
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
I am not proud of what I have done, and I'll be like,
should
you
be
know what?
understanding.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know the beauty of this discussion is
Yeah.
we are trying to look for reconciliation.
Exactly.
That's true.
However we do it, we are trying to look for reconciliation.
Whichever way.
And Linda likes this background thing.
Yeah.
And maybe you could talk about this background before we go for this break.
Yeah.
My entire life,
Yes.
I never heard my dad telling my mom, I'm sorry. Maybe they were doing it in their comfort zone or their private zone. But once in a while, I would see them in conflict. They would, you know, they would probably say, no, not that direction. No, not this direction. And once in a while, they would do that. But in a situation where now, can you say sorry in front of the children?
That I can do. Why not? Because I am teaching them something.
Very important.
Yes.
That is what I was looking for. Our viewer, we are struggling with reconciliation and being at peace with yourself. Remember, it's now not us, but it is yourself. And that is why the topic is when I am at fault. I am at fault. What do you do when you're at fault? We are also struggling with to understand the other gender that is insisting that body language and action speaks louder than words.
Some of
What are
us.
you
But
saying?
the
What are
word
you
here
saying?
is more important. We are coming back after this break.
Hadithi inasimuliwa ya mtu ambaye aliwatesa Wakristo kwa motisha ya hali ya juu na baadaye akawa Mkristo kikweli. Mungu aliongoza mtu huyu kushiriki na kuandika kile ambacho wokovu unamaanisha hasa. Mfano, jinsi ya kukabiliana na shida, maadili ya Mkristo, kanisa la kweli, msamaha, tumaini kwa ulimwengu, kati ya mafundisho mengine kemkem. Huenda ukawa na maswali kuhusu mada mbalimbali anazoeleza katika Biblia. Tazama msimu huu mpya kabisa wa Jibu kwa Mashaka na ujifunze zaidi kutoka kwa Mtume Paulo, upate ufahamu.
When I am at fault, this is a very interesting topic, and like we have said, we are trying, and we are trying to understand what happens, because it begins from me. We would also want to know from you, dear viewer, what do you do when you are at fault? How do you come back? Because the main thing here is about reconciliation. So we'd also want to hear from you. You can talk to us. We have our hashtag Family Times. Talk to us on that so that we can also get what you're saying. Remember, these people who are sitting here are not experts. We are just trying to find our way over there. Before we went for the break, we were trying to agree. And Richard, I noticed that women are never at fault. They're always right.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's not.
It is not true, but I must say that most of the time they pretend they can never be at fault. And the fault that we normally see, or what we usually see, are associated with men. I start from the point which my colleague Felix made, that the word sorry is a heavy one, and especially it's the men folk. It's not a light word. It's a word that comes after a lot of soul searching. And therefore, when it is made, it's made with a lot of, what do you call it? You can say
Weight.
emotions, whatever it is. You say it truthfully. Now, it is true that men are not very, very light to say, I'm sorry. I remember an incident when I was a young boy. We wanted to go watch a boxing match. And our mom would not make a decision on that one. And we just stayed at home because Dad had not said we can go. There probably wasn't money that would be given to go and watch this match. And so our mom gave us some sugar cane. So we started chewing sugar cane at night. Boxing matches commonly are played at night. And we chewed quite a good number of sugar cane. But when our dad got back home, we were still hopeful that he was going to tell us, now you can go. Set it off and then we go. Unfortunately, when he came, he was angered by the fact that we had eaten a lot of sugar cane and the pills were all over the place. To the extent that he came and turned us back and whipped our buttocks. Pap, 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 quickly. You know, we were double annoyed then because firstly we hadn't gone. Secondly, he's come back and he's whipping us. And our mom would not even defend and say anything. But one thing she said afterwards is that you are wrong. These boys were waiting for you. You should have come early, or you should have just informed us on what to do so that they could attend. Everybody else has gone there. What will they say tomorrow when the friends are talking about it? This man didn't even say, I'm sorry. He walked away, went to sleep. So we missed it completely. All hopes went away. Why? It's because, yes, indeed, he didn't say sorry to our mom, even when that was being said in front of us. Another heavy burden was there, because we hardly say this in front of people. It makes you feel a little foolish, a little weaker, a little indecisive. You don't seem to be able to decide. You want people to suggest to you what should have been decided. So it's a heavy one. It's not an easy one. But more than everything else, Dave, I only like it when it is said with a lot of truth. With a lot
When
of
it
truth.
is said with a lot of truth.
Yes.
Now, there is this other point that was coming up so strongly from our dear, beautiful ladies here, that they were in agreement that my action should tell you already that I am sorry. My action. I mean, I don't know whether we stopped at action,
What action?
or you started at action, then you are heading somewhere else.
Yes.
You know,
Let me.
You want to quote it?
now I want to say, I just want to comment on what Richard has said. He's given a very good illustration, but according to how he's explained it, he's expecting that fault to be from somebody else. But here we're talking about when I am at fault.
Yeah.
So we're talking about ourselves.
That's
you know?
true.
So I think we need to ask ourselves, if I am at fault, what am I supposed to do?
My point was only based on the fact that
Yeah.
it's not an easy word to say for a man.
And
I'm now a man, I'm
I
not a baby
mentioned,
anymore.
and also mentioned, having a relationship with God. So yes, men might be, but I'm sure there's a viewer out there who's saying sorry to the spouse is nothing. You know, they say it and they mean it.
Very true.
So as much as we were here saying men are different and everything, but we have men who have a relationship with God. I'm not saying you people don't have a relationship with God, but if you have a relationship with God, saying sorry, when I have a relationship with God, saying sorry would be so easy.
But then now,
Yeah.
I am now getting confused,
Why?
because let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Because we were discussing previously before we went for the break, and what was coming out clearly is that body language matters than even the words. So maybe I could ask you, do you guys feel bullied when you are asked to just say it verbally that I am sorry? Lillian.
Why would you ask me to say sorry? It
And
should
the
come
actions have
from
already,
me.
Because you're at fault.
And
You
It should come from me. And you see,
you're already at fault, and that is, I mean, that is what you're
shows what
supposed
you-
to do. We are not asking. That is what you're supposed to do. It's like cause and effect.
It's the least.
but now
Take
you're
it
also
down from you,
confusing us,
yeah.
because he's saying we'll say sorry, but with a lot of lies in it. And to me, my actions should be able to tell that I'm very sorry, even without using the words.
The words.
So when now you want me to say sorry,
Because
but in your mind, you believe I'm only saying it so that we put that matter to rest.
yeah.
Now,
I don't
Directly, directly
that's
answer
okay.
your question.
Yeah.
If I'm asked to say sorry, I'll feel bullied. Yeah, because if I need to
You
say
forcing
sorry,
it,
You're being
forcing
coerced.
it, yeah.
yes, I'm being coerced.
Do
It's
it.
not from my heart.
Do
You know,
it
when
from
you
your
ask
heart,
me if I didn't see it for
truthfully.
myself,
Yes.
then I'll feel bullied. Let me feel it. Let
Exactly.
it come
From
within
me.
me that I'm at fault, and then I
Yeah.
ask for sorry. And we are not saying that we will never say sorry.
Yes.
We are saying, as men, it may be something hard, but few times we
Look
may
at
be
the way
convinced.
Lillian is looking at you.
When it is,
Yeah, because
when it
I
is
will tell my
necessary.
child,
Yes.
can you say sorry?
Yes.
We,
And because she's a child,
And
she's
you-
just a kid,
And you're the mother,
And
and
I'm
you
the
have
mother,
demanded.
she'll
That's a
obey the
demand.
instructions.
In
Yeah,
fact,
she
that's
will
a
obey.
demand.
yes.
So I'm looking at a point where
Yeah.
Felix tells me, Lillian, can you say sorry? At this age.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Else,
yes.
Yes.
what I'll ask him, what do you want
know.
me to do? My actions
Yeah.
already show that I am sorry.
And Lillian,
What do you want me to
that's
do?
more or less the same point you're talking about.
yes.
At this age, where I've lived with you this many years, as your husband, this sort of thing.
So allow me
Yes.
to say it on my
On-
own.
yeah,
Exactly.
in my own
Say
way.
In my own way.
Yes.
Firstly,
And
you
accept
have
it,
to
don't
say
judge it.
sorry. You must first of all accept from yourself,
Yes.
truthfully,
Yes.
that you
Yeah.
have made a
I'm
mistake,
wrong.
you're at
Yes.
fault, and therefore you don't need to be prompted by me. Equally, expect me to say it the same way. You don't need to prompt me.
That is right.
Dave,
Then
what,
now
the
the
bottom
bottom
bottom line is understanding your spouse.
Yes. Don't
If your
judge my
spouse
sorry. If I say
enjoys
sorry,
being told, I am sorry, do it. If your spouse enjoy you doing, for example, if I'm at fault, I go the extra mile and do whatever I have to do, let me do it.
But you see again,
Let
what
me,
happens?
Tabby,
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
there's any man who would prefer a sorry in action form than by saying by word of mouth.
Straightforward.
As simple
That's
as
why I
that.
say
You understand.
understanding your spouse.
Yeah.
It belittles me
That
when
is-
you
that
come
is what,
to act before me, you're dancing or you're smiling or coming onto my face and you're already at fault. I'm expecting you to first of all sort out that matter before we go into smiling
And how do we
laughing.
sort it out?
Now, by telling me.
Exactly.
By saying that,
You remember
not by your actions.
You remember,
Actions,
Richard. You
you need
remember
to-
what our floor manager Carol was saying about apology language.
Yes.
And that is what we are fighting with.
Exactly.
Seemingly, we haven't understood.
Me saying sorry is this way, you
Yes.
saying sorry is this other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know.
But
because
again, we need not to judge. When I say sorry, even if I'm pretending, let it be on me. But you accept the sorry. Don't be. It seems like you have a judgeometer. So you know, like there's a place. This is not the right one. Or at this point, you're not telling the truth.
Well,
No.
the
And
gentleman
I think we
no,
need to
no,
base
or-
our
or
discussion
not.
right from the Bible. What
Yes.
the Bible says.
Yeah.
Yes.
First
Thank
of
you.
all, the Bible says we've all fallen short of the glory.
Yes.
you.
And therefore, we are bound to be at fault at any one point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then secondly,
Yes.
we look at this woman who was taken to Jesus because she was adulterous.
Yeah.
And what did Jesus ask? Where is the man? Why has he just brought the
One
the
person,
woman?
yeah.
Yes.
If any of you has not sinned,
Be
pick
the
a
first.
stone.
Be the first
Exactly.
Be the
person.
first to hit. What did they do?
They
all
also searched and
Meaning,
left.
they also realized that they were at fault.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like
The
what she
action.
has said.
So
The
the-
action
search.
spoke
Yeah.
louder than the words.
In this one, there are two faults, isn't it? One by Jesus and one by the woman.
So you are saying
In the
Jesus was at
sense,
fault.
just listen to me, in the sense that when the accusation comes, the question is not even directed to the lady. It's directed to the people who have brought this lady, isn't it?
Richard,
And that's
In that
why-
sense, it is both touch and go. Touching the matter, then presenting it to those who have not faulted.
You know why I brought this? Why I brought this? I want us to look at the action of these people
Yes.
who took this adulterous woman to Jesus.
To Jesus.
Did they talk? They didn't.
They didn't talk.
Did they pick a stone? They didn't.
They
What
didn't.
they did,
Very
they
true.
left.
Lillian, The Bible says precept upon precept.
Wow.
A little here,
Yes.
a little there. So this is a little here.
Yes.
James chapter 5,
Thank you.
verses 16. Confess your faults
Yes.
one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. My word, my take home is confess your fault
Exactly.
one to another.
And accept
Just like we confess
other
the
many
situation.
ways of talking
The
about
situation that you're talking about, I believe they soul searched, as my dear wife is saying, but they didn't have time to confess one to another.
Yes,
It
and that
comes
is-
from the, if I've defaulted, I am the one to say sorry. Now, away from people who have seen me, evidences and everything, I must confess from my own heart, deep down from me, before I bring it
It
out.
has to come from
But
you.
and this my last statement was this: that when we are confessing before God, when you're defaulting, we have sinned. We do not go there by first of all, the
Body
matter is hot.
language.
Yes, dance around.
No, you humble yourself.
Take a
You can't
call
go
to comb
there
your
like.
hair. Just go straight.
Dave,
I know.
Go straight.
But you humble yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all
Before-
right. Humility
Yeah.
doesn't mean dancing and smiling
No,
and
no,
doing
no,
all
no,
that
no,
kind
no.
of
We
thing.
did not
The thing is-
mention.
Yeah.
The thing is this.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
okay, say that thing, then I say what I want
The
to
thing
say.
is this. Confess truthfully to your fault so that you are forgiven. Because you can't go back to sort it out. It's already done. So
Now-
if it's a
now,
fault,
Richard, I'm still high.
yes.
I'm still up there.
yes.
You know, I am at fault, but
Yeah.
I'm up there. You know, then I come and tell you, sorry. You
Will
get
you
my
feel,
point.
because
Will
you
you
want
feel
to-
like now?
I'm getting your point.
Yeah. So I must
This-
humble myself first.
And I agree with you. My only point, what I want us to move from is the fact that you want your body language to take place first.
I
Tell
think
me
it
what
has
it is
to-
for me.
Yeah,
Ladies and
different.
gentlemen,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
I see we will not agree
No, we will.
on some issues.
Yes.
But let me ask, is there a place that we can come together? Is there a place of convergence when I am at fault? I mean, my viewer there is probably and wondering, what is happening here? I like what you said earlier, and now you can say it now in bold and capital letters. Where is the place of God in all this? Tabby.
Thank you.
Where is the place of God in all this? When we have God, there are so many things that we will not take like the people of the world. So that if I am at fault, I will be very intentional to be so sorry. And being sorry, just like I mentioned, I can say sorry in so many ways. Number one, I have to go and ask God to forgive me first. Because this is a ministry. I will, after talking to God, to give me the strength to talk about it, then I will go and tell my spouse, hey, you know what? I am really, really sorry because of 1, 2, 3, 4. That way, it will be different from, okay, well, whatever. You know what? I did it. I really don't care. You know, there are people who, and then it builds up. And before you realize it, you don't have a marriage. We really are not, we want a marriage. Yes, we want a marriage, whether there is, I'm at fault or he's at fault.
Yeah.
So it makes you to be humble and look at how, what would Jesus have done, sincerely?
Yes.
What would Jesus have done? Would I really want
Yeah.
a lot of, hey, he's not said sorry enough, or I have not said sorry enough? Yeah, so word of God will really humble me.
Actually, in
Ama, how
the
much would
situation
you-
that Lillian was explaining, Jesus never condemned anyone.
Exactly.
He told the woman,
So that's why we need to
neither do I.
yeah,
Condemn
condemn you.
Go and sin no more.
Yes.
Exactly.
Is it, how important is
So-
it then when we talk about understanding someone in relation to now when they are at fault? Because
Yeah.
I need to understand how Linda operates within her
Yeah.
fault scenario. How is that important, Felix?
thank you. it's very important to understand your spouse. And actually, at the end of the day, just like we've been struggling to make others understand that how heavy it is for us to say sorry, when you are able to understand your spouse, when she is able to understand you, then just maybe saying sorry wouldn't be a problem. Actually, even them acting in a way to show that they are sorry would be well with us.
Yeah.
We understand them, they understand us, we communicate in different ways, and that alone will make us understand the situation. And actually, we will feel something when they say they are sorry.
And remember, you told us
Yes.
that when Linda is at fault, she will keep quiet. It is you who will go to her, hey, let us see it, let us talk.
Yes.
So it means you already understand who your wife is. And that is why we are talking about understanding one another. You'll be able to tell sincerely from her actions, she's sorry, even if she doesn't speak it out. Because you already know one another. You know how to deal with situations as they come. Yeah.
So I am able to adjust
Exactly.
Yes.
based on
Accommodate.
her, you know.
Actions and everything.
So we are, excuse me, what works for you, Tabby and Richard? What works for you?
What works for me when I'm at fault?
Yes.
I think I will say this again and again. I feel so sorry. Definitely I will, for me, I will not talk about it immediately. It depends on the situation. If we're just two in the house, I can sit down with him and tell him, hey, this is the situation. But most of the times he listens when I am at fault, you know? So there are some people who will not even have that time to talk. Maybe he can also say how he handles his own when he's at fault.
Well, when I'm at fault, I confess it. And I'm quickly out to say, I'm sorry. It's not easy. I must confess. For me to say sorry, I must prepare myself. Because there are moments when you can say sorry, and then you can end up escalating an issue. My wish is always that I say sorry, and that is the end of it.
Yep.
But before I do that, when I'm convinced that I am the one who was faulted, I get myself, firstly, I want to sort it out with my God before I come to her. And before if I've not really come to terms with it, I would be quiet. I would listen to the reaction. Or before I confess, I take time to listen to myself and think about what the reactions would be. And then I'm ready. Then I say it because I've sorted out myself with God. You see, faults are not really to our own selves. A fault is a sin. It's like a sin. You cannot relate it to a sin. And we confess to God really of our sins. Therefore, you go there first and then you tackle it. It may not be very easy because it may come with some repercussions, but you have to do it from your heart.
Okay.
Yes.
Tabby, what would be your parting shot?
I want to ask my dear viewer that it takes God, it really takes God to be humble and to accept that you're at fault. It will not make you a lesser person to just create time to have that proper conversation with your spouse to say, hey, I'm sorry. But then if you say you're sorry, it will even take the baggage out of you, and the marriage will even be happier, and the communication will even be better. Thank you.
Lillian, what would be your parting shot?
I'll just concur with Tabby. Saying sorry does not mean you're weak. We want harmony, we want love, we want
Peace.
a lot peace in our marriages. So just humble yourself, say sorry, lock yourselves in your bedroom, pray to God so that God helps you sort out your issues.
How is that feeling when now there is this sorry that has been said in a nice way? How is that feeling, Felix?
And I love it so much. No marriage is going to be perfect. People would have problems. But when you are able to acknowledge that and ask for forgiveness, then that is all that is required of us. In the Lord's Prayer, we ask God to forgive us as we forgive others.
Yeah.
How do we expect God to forgive us? And
If
that
we're
should
not.
start from your home.
Exactly.
When I'm at fault, I ask for sorry and I'm forgiven. And the same applies the other side. Ask for forgiveness and you'll be forgiven.
Okay. Richard?
Very well indeed. Ask for forgiveness and be forgiven. Because you know your place, you know the fault. Probably it may take a little while before it's pointed to you that this is a fault, whoever. But when you do it heartily. Do it from your heart. Do it truthfully before your God and to whoever you have faulted. And that will be the best position for you. Leave it to whoever would forgive you. They may not want to say it, but just be sincere with yourself, my viewer, and let the person know that you are sorry. God will sort out the rest.
Thank you so much. Quick answers. How does it feel when Lillian has said sorry? Just a quick one.
Hi, I would be excited.
You'll be excited. No, you'll be excited. Lillian, how do you feel?
Feels good.
Feels good. Tabby?
Happy, happy.
Happy. Richard?
Great.
Great. How do you feel?
At
Now
peace.
you haven't given us your parting shot. You can say it and then you tell us how it feels.
I will be at peace. To my dear viewer, when you're at fault, start with yourself. Do it for yourself. Say you're sorry for yourself before you do it to the other person. It is
Very
much
true.
easier when you do it for yourself, then you can be
Very
able
true.
to do it to the other
Very true.
person.
Wow. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And as we wrap it up, we would also ask you, how does it feel?
Yeah.
You can chat us, tell us how it feels when you have been told, I am sorry. There are good words here, exciting, it feels nice, it feels happy. It's good to be at peace with yourself and even with people around you. The Bible says, is it Romans 8:17? Romans, I'll find out. Try to live peaceably with everyone around you. We have been very, very blessed, and I hope you have been blessed. Please remember to tell us what you feel, what you think should be done. And if you want to be part of this team, just let us know. We will come for you wherever you are, and you'll be part of us, because we know that when you come visiting here with us, you will not go empty-handed. And even us, we will not go back home without something that we will learn from you. Thank you so much, Felix and Lillian, for coming and always coming. Thank you, Tabby and Richard. And from us here, we say, God bless you. There is another one that is hotter than this. Stay tuned.